Hello and good morning. This video is specifically for Stephen Hawking, and I want to talk about maybe his law of everything. Okay, and I want to give something new to him. I think he don't really see the concept of there being a God, from what I've heard. Okay, I don't know if he's changed his view on this or not, but I'm gonna throw something out there for him. I'm going to throw out a principle that I came up with, and it has to do with what I call the law of change. Okay? Everything is in a constant state of change according to the law that I perceived here. So you can't tell from one minute to the next what's going to happen, because things will change and over time transform. They may form into something totally different over time. A lot of people like to call this evolution, but I don't call this evolution. I call this adaptivity. Things adapt to their environment. They change. Okay. He talked about the universe, and they talked about the Big Bang. My question is, how did the Big Bang occur? Another question I would pose to him is, where did the seed come from? Okay. So we don't have no definitive answer on how these things came about or where they came from. We give answers to things that are already visible to us in our understanding. We haven't got to the point where we can see beyond our understanding to see where things are actually rooted from. So what I think is that change in itself is a substance. It's tangible. Okay? Because everything in our life is composed of change. As we develop, we change. As a child, we change, we grow up. Things decay and die. They go through a state of change. I think if you look more deeply into the concept of change, then he may be able to find out his theory of everything. Everything is in a state of constant change. This is his theory in a nutshell. Can be said that everything is change. Everything. This law affects everything. You cannot tell me otherwise. You may not be able to see the change because it's so small, you know what I mean? Or the change can be so many years down the line, say it take maybe a couple billion years to actually see the change occur. So you got changes that are happening very, very, very slowly, and changes that are happening very, very fast, and some in between. So the law of change is in effect in everything. If we didn't have a law of change, we wouldn't even develop mentally or develop as a species. We'd be stagnant. We'd stay centralized. There wouldn't be no understanding. It would be just complete there, nothing else. So I want to interject God back into this. God is the beneficiary to change, or he owns change. And he's allowed us the privilege to use this in our lives, to see who he is. The very nature of God lives within us. And if change is a very big factor in our lives, then change has to be connected with God. Change has to be connected with everything. And everything is going through a state of change, so it just changes form, just like energy. Energy is never created or destroyed. It just changes form. In science, they quote this all the time. This would give you an understanding of what everything is composed of. Everything is composed of change. And I think that Stephen Hawking can elaborate on this much more. I don't want him to be so rigid not to really look into this. My question is, he has undergone a state of change, because he no longer can write on a piece of paper and articulate things on a chalkboard. He has to do it within his mind. So he's changed. He's thinking inwardly more than he ever did before, instead of outwardly. In fact, he may be far beyond us, because we think externally all the time. We don't think internally the way we should. I'm going to cut this video short because I don't know how much time I have, so I'm going to let this go. But think about this. Thinking is good, and thinking brings about change. I hit the stop button.